Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can see me. So it's Leanne Barrable here, a Devonshire Shepherdess, as a mentor and coach this morning. So I'm jumping in to share with you my heart behind why I have set up a Devonshire Shepherdess. And it was mainly because I wanted a healthier and happier farming family. So it it all was like fine, and I think I felt like I was just in this place of, well, this is as it is, our in farming families, it's a stressful situation most of the time. It's quite an emotionally charged place to be, because we're so we're tossed around so much. It's either the weather, it's either the prices of things, it can be diseases, it can be crop failure, so many things that can affect a farming family, and it can become so emotionally charged. And when you're brought up in that, you think that that is it, that this is the way it's supposed to be, and that's it. However, when I got pregnant with my daughter, I remember specifically thinking, I'm going to stop getting angry. I'm going to choose to stop being angry. And I later realized all I really did was internalized what I used to expel out. So I wasn't really doing her or myself much good at all. And over the course of that pregnancy, obviously, as I've shared before, I ended up injuring myself and getting a condition called SPD. And this meant that physically my body was like, we can't do any more. So I was a very active, mobile farmer's daughter, and had been my entire life, to then have that taken away or to lose it for a time. And I come to realize, as I was holding Hayley, the very first day I was holding her, I was like, I actually don't want her to get into this state. Like, I didn't want her to get to where I had physically. And so once the dust had settled, and that first year was a really rough year for me and for Hayley, mainly because I was so stressed out and so emotionally broke. She had reflux issues, which I now know was probably because of medication I was taking. And it was a really rough year for us. And by the end of it, I was just so emotionally done. I was so emotionally broken. And I remember thinking, is this it? Is this what it's going to be like? And so in some instances, I feel fortunate that that happened in my younger years, where there's a lot of farmers and men and women who are getting to their older years, 40s, 50s, 60s, where things are like just collapsing around them, and they think that their health is gone, their mental health might be like just teetering on the edge. And so for me, it happened in my 20s. And looking back and knowing what I know now about how the brain works and how we are created and how our bodies work, and all the things, I can see that actually it was the mental and emotional stress that comes from living in a farming family, which is so unpredictable. It's an industry that is, there's a lot of things we aren't in control of. And it takes a special sort of person to be a farmer, particularly in this day and age. We have it literally inbuilt in us to keep going and keep going and keep going. And we've believed for a long time that in order to do that and do it well is to work harder. If we work harder, if we do longer hours, if we don't sleep, if we just keep going and going and going, then that is what's going to make this work. Well, that's an old model. And we are in a time now where actually that model can be updated, and we can become smarter in how we think, smarter in how we manage our time, smarter in how much energy we actually have inside of us, in order to make sure that we become healthier and happier. So it is my focus right now for the next 5 years that by the time I'm 40, I will be healthier than I was when I was 20. And this is because I already am in so many more aspects. So I've learned about how the way I was thinking about myself and about situations was causing me emotional trauma. So my emotions, when you think a thought, your emotions kind of come in with it. And particularly if you think about anger in farming families, it's fear that causes anger. So if we're afraid at any given point, if we're afraid to make changes, if we're afraid of what's going on in the world, we respond in anger. And of course, that comes and falls normally upon whoever is closest and whoever we love the most. And so we over the generations, this is not just now, this is not just the last generation or the generation before, this is several generations now, that I think going right back to the Second World War, where it was such a scary time, and it's come down through the generations and it's gotten worse. And so now we're working harder and getting less back. So, this is what I was seeing, that we were working so hard, yet the bottom line wasn't really changing, and we are still relying on government payments and subsidies and stuff. So we'd created a business ultimately that wasn't great, and that we needed to change, because we need the farm to be working for us rather than us working for it. And so it all came down to how we think. So when I became a neurocoach and discovered all about the thought life that I was having, the belief life that I was having, I realized that if I changed how I thought about things, I could actually change the emotional response to those things and release all the old stuff. So it was just old thinking patterns that I was stuck in order to then see a different way, in order to then introduce new things into our farming business, and to introduce them in such a way that we aren't creating a big argument, or rather I'm not creating a big argument, and that things can change and we have a sustainable farming future for the children that are now coming through in our farming family. Because even if none of them want it, they need to have that option. And in order to have that option, we need to start thinking differently about our farm business. I needed to start thinking differently about my health. In order to be the best driving force of the business, I needed to be healthy and happy. When you look around a market ring and you see half the old boys there, they all need new hips or new knees. I was like, I'm not going to be that farmer. I am not going to be that farmer. I'm going to have all my own joints, all my own body parts, in order to live the happiest, healthiest life I can right into my 80s and 90s, God willing. And so in order to do that, I have changed the way I think. And I particularly became a neurocoach in order to hack my own brain. But now I can see how I can help other farming families to create a vision and move forward into that vision, to let go of like the past stuff, the past hurts, the past thought life that we've had, the thoughts of I need to work harder, to literally let go of all of that in order to create a healthier environment, to create a healthier time management program. Like I manage my time now in such a way that that we have the best of both worlds. So obviously I'm homeschooling Hayley, and so that needs a certain amount of time, but I also enjoy doing the business side of things. I enjoy doing live videos. I enjoy sharing with people, spending time with people. We have the farm tours, so we've got lots of people coming on, and we just manage the schedule now in order to do it all. And we still have time off, we still rest, we still have days, weekends out, and all sorts of things. And I know we are beef and sheep farmers, and it is slightly different for dairy. However, you can set dairy up, I'm sure, to work for you in terms of how you're thinking. So if we're overthinking all the time, it tires us out, and that is not good. And I realized that my thought life was actually making me more tired than what I was actually doing. So I'd become really inefficient. My thoughts had run wild, and I was like, slogging behind physically. Now we're changing that. So I've basically got rid of a lot of the old negative thought patterns in order to now move forward. And this is what I would love helping people do. So if this is something that you are thinking, how is she doing this? What has she discovered? What is she up to? Then just reach out, just comment below or send me a WhatsApp message, and we can have a chat and see where you're at and what your vision and want for your farming family is. And I will speak to you soon.